Well, of course, we'll come back to our second hour Smart Men's Business here, Smart 24 TV. My name is Masi and I'm with Andrew Barige. And of course, you know, we're always here to get you inspired and motivated each and every day that goes by. And of course, given the day that you are breaking off from what you you know, the fun, the excitement that was yesterday, today is it another day to kick off business as usual. I believe, I guess it was enough. 2 days are enough. 2 days are enough for a person. I mean, you had the whole weekend, then you had Monday, Tuesday, Monday. How about you go and open up that shop? How about you go and open up that office? You know, make something for. And by the time we clock into 31st, at least you've made something so that you could begin the new year properly.
Yeah, actually, the majority of the people today are resuming work. Okay, not so many, but at least some people, some companies are resuming work. And we anticipate increased traffic congestions. Yesterday, when I was going back home using my route, I realized that, you know, some people were traveling back from the village. So in the night, there was a little bit of congestion. Of course, people don't really travel in the morning. They travel in the morning, but they reach here late afternoon. So we anticipate some mild congestions within. That is in the next 2 to 3 days, but this will be experienced towards evening hours. So for those that will be traveling in the evening, you have to watch out. You're leaving work in the evening, well, you might find you might find it hard for you to reach home in time, but early morning is going to be quite fair. What do we have for inspiration? Today is it's Smart Men's Business Inspiration Moment.
Yeah, well, I was reading a book on leadership, and once in a while I read books. And of course, I reached at a point where I was reading about leaders of influence. And the one example I really feel was valid and really true was Mother Teresa. You know, she was I don't know a woman. She was a nana. She was a woman who had influence to the, you know, she had influence to the point that she would criticize even the topmost leader, and they would feel okay because she had influence. Yes, she had the power. So all in all, what this book was all about was leadership is about influence. You have to be able to influence them. It's not about management, it's not about entrepreneurial skills, it's not about knowledge, it's about influence. If you sat down, can you command an audience to listen to you? Yeah. So what here it said, actually quoting from what it said about Mother Teresa, and of course I'm going to begin. And as she spoke, but as the speech continued, it became more pointed. She spoke of unhappy, you know, parents in old ages homes. You know, it was about, you know, how parents feel hurt when they're left out. You know, for, you know, to go and be in those old age homes, and of course, and the kind of, you know, you're old, you have to beg your children look after you. It's so detrimental.
Absolutely.
Know? You've taken all the years to raise children, but you're begging them to look after you. It's really so. Leadership is influence, nothing less and nothing more.
All right.
Yeah, and of course, about the 5 myths about leadership. We see that the best there is the management myth, we have the entrepreneur myth, we have the knowledge myth, and the pioneer myth. This thing of I started it, you know, I'm the pioneer, I circumnavigated the world, that has no influence.
All right, very interesting. And of course, before we proceed with that, let's first of all take a look at what we have for you in the business tips and quotes this morning. And of course, when we get away from this, we shall definitely get into some other little bit of additional tips. that you don't need 100 people to develop that idea. You need to develop it yourself. Many times we're scared. Probably we are trying to attach ourselves to people to partner with in terms of business creativity because we are afraid of failure. But the bigger picture in here is that do you have an idea how many possible multi-billion business have died just because somebody decided to start as a group? This is something I strongly disagree. Of course, they will tell you that starting a group and all that, but if you don't share the same vision, it's definitely not going to work out. We've lost quite lots of people because we want to associate ourselves with the people to act as security for us. But you get to realize that before you know it, what these people offer, actually some of them end up using you to get to where they want to be. And we've seen
people fall out of business due to different ideas, and of course we saw the former McDonald's, actually they fell out of business because of different ideologies. Even very many companies around here, people fall out of business because of different ideologies. I want this, I want this. At the end of the day, you're not on the same page. Well, of course it starts as on the same page. The more you grow into the business, the more everyone identifies what they want. So you find yourself falling out.
Yeah.
So start a thing on your own, fight your own battles.
Fight your own battles.
Yeah, fight your own battles and know your weaknesses, your strengths, and of course that's how the business is going to thrive. Yeah, because the idea first of all was yours. Because at the end of the day, it's not like the idea starts in your head personally. It's not, you're not sharing Andrew's head. And of course you're going to share with Andrew. Andrew's going to be like, because it wasn't initially in their brain, they're going to go, oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, so they will go in line with your idea. At the end of it all, if they see probably they may benefit out of it, they may lose out of it, you try to go opposite direction, so which is not good. So start up a thing on your own, make it unique, and let us do some things next year. Let's do things that are unique.
Okay.
Be extraordinary, stand out. That is how you're going to pull the crowd and be an influential leader.
Very beautiful, very beautiful. Now, getting back to our topic of discussion this morning, and of course we're taking a look at, is it a festive boost or it's economic drain at the same time? What I have learned over the time, for the last 2 years, that is compared to 2023, I've come to get to see as a business person, it's very important and key for you to have an increased product portfolio, as such that in case you don't benefit in one, at least the other can cover you up. People that are dealing in furniture, people that are actually dealing in construction related aspects, say that this season was actually one of the best for them. They made quite a lot of money. This is according to my interactions. But of course, when you still go further to find out other people in dealing in specific products, they will tell you this has been the worst season. And but of course when I came to balance it up, I realized that those that are saying that 2023 has been the worst season seem to be more than those that say 2023 has been a good season. But why? It comes all back to what commodities are they dealing in, and the people need to understand this. This is going to take quite a while. That people these days are very particular in terms of what they spend.
Oh yeah, I must say really, when it comes to infrastructure, building, those people that own hardwares, well, of course in 2020, 2021, it was a bit difficult because people were not allowed to move, and people, on construction it was a little bit, but I believe that is when people actually did construct the most. But of course, there are businesses that don't die out. Every day, everyone is constructing. People are putting up structures. Which every now and again, there is need for furniture. So that dies. There are businesses actually that are not seasonal. They are for a lifetime. Yeah. So if you have a business that you feel is seasonal, you're going to be affected one way or the other.
And I'm very grateful for the fact that I'm not going to say grateful because this might be a little sound biased, but I'll say part of the policies that were put in place by the local authorities in some of the places, rarely did they know that they actually provided opportunity for other people to make income. For example, I'll benchmark so much on yesterday what I saw, something which really shook me, about some shops that were closed in some areas due to their outlook They're not looking fit to be shops. They have to be painted, they have to be constructed. Actually, somebody told me they had just made the steps of the shop, heading to, and I could see clearly new, and it was new cement. And in my interaction still, I realized that people that were dealing in paint at that moment made a lot of money because it was on huge demand in those specific areas. Of course, Kabalagala and Kansanga in particular, because those are one of the most busiest places when it comes to business activity during the festive season. So, but for those that were mainly into other related products, which are not food, actually the biggest aspects on demand were food. People bought a lot of rice. And some a bit of, cooking oil. Some of the aspects that were highly on demand because, of course, people desire to have delicious, to eat delicious meals. But the demand for food was really there. But for these other aspects, because I saw people that were dealing in cutlery, most especially in one of the busiest areas in Chikubu, didn't really have the best Christmas.
For cutlery, really, someone. Why would I need to buy cutlery on the first?
But before, people used to purchase items, even those that were not okay. Maybe I understand because that friends and family are going to be passing by home, so it may necessitate you to carry some extra cutlery. But that is typical in villages because most people go to the villages. Not so many families travel within that. Let me say, Muyeng, I'm going to visit my aunt in Tinda. Of course, it happens, but rarely as compared to people living in Kampala to the village. And in the village, they have enough cutlery. This is you'll find spoons that have worked for years and years, and they're still working, which is not the case here. So that explains why you see that. But maybe just a little bit.
Actually, I think I saw also the fuel pumps did not make as because I was that very day, and someone looking for change. Borders usually look for change, but then changing by changing, and then we've not made any money. So they were used to the Bencon is coming and requiring for a full tank, but now they were seeing more of borders, just a few vehicles. So I don't think they made some money for the fuel stations.
Fuel stations, yeah. Some actually passed by weren't even in operation. But of course, now we're taking a look at the consumer habits. How are they affecting different sectors of the economy? And of course, taking a look at the transportation. Of course, the 2023 data is still in search. We shall be getting to.
But of course, when it comes to transportation, I think they want those bus operators not to be fair on the prices. Yeah,
of course, the government authorities came out and told them to be fair.
The previous years it was too much, and the fact that we were still in the COVID times, people were a little bit stressed. It was too much in 2021. Going back, it was almost. Remember going to my home, it was almost 90,000. You can imagine. So definitely, I think this year at least people traveled. The prices were fair.
People pretty traveled actually.
And of course, probably those that remained behind, maybe the borders also tried to increase a little bit. The distance you'd go for 4,000 was now 6,000, and no bargaining. Yeah, either you hop on it or you walk. So that was the whole situation right there. I was talking to Charlotte yesterday, and I was like, maybe they were trying to compensate for those that are not around. You're paying for the person who went to the village, the additional 2,000. So that was the situation when it comes to transportation. Yeah.
Okay, that is matters to do with that. But of course, if we take a look at the food and beverage industry, similar to retail, if we take a look at December last year, 2022, figures for food and beverage sales, of course, revealed that there was a little bit of increase of about 15.4%. That is as compared. Actually, 2021 had a much more better way. According to the report from the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, the amount of money that was spent on food and beverages, there was a 15.4% increase observed in December 2021 compared to November 2021. And yes, so we are waiting to really see because some of these facts are still in process.
I think I have a clue as to why the end of 2021 people spent more. Why? There were restrictions, and now everything was open. People were at their leisure to go and drink all they can. So it was time for you to celebrate with family. Those that you've taken. I think that's the time I also went to the village. That was the time I had to go and celebrate, and people bought in bulk a lot. So definitely I have a feeling that was the reason as to why 2021 people spent more compared to these last 2 years.
Compared to the
2022 and 2023.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The excitement of, you know, getting to meet your friends, and you have to catch up, and of course when you're catching up, you know, you have to take a sip, you know, you have to eat. So definitely it was a celebration of we've gotten back together. It's been the grace of God. We are alive. We are, you know, so it was that. Yeah.
All right, and of course, taking a look at the transportation as 2022, the Uganda Airlines reported a 30% increase in passenger numbers in December 2022. That is compared to the monthly average. Now, this directly reflects a surge in travel demand for family and reunions over that time.
I think this year there was also a surge because they were actually telling people to go on time because of the surge of, you know, travelers. Yeah, so if you didn't keep time, the flight left you. So definitely next time, make sure, because people book actually in advance. People book 2 months before. So it was flooded. Entebbe Airport was flooded, and I believe they made more.
Absolutely, and of course that is accompanied with the different activities that rely on the airlines as a result of that. Now, of course, if we take a look at accommodation and accommodation industry that way. Because we see that authorities, revenue figures, reports from the tourism authorities and the hotel booking platforms definitely indicate that occupancy rates in popular tourist destinations is reaching up to 90%, of course, during the festive season. And this definitely suggests significant boost for hotels and other related lodges. But of course, some of these updates are still in development in regards to that. But the bigger picture that you need to understand, 2022, there was an increase of about 14.2%, actually 12.7% increase in commercial lending, and it explains why we experienced a huge demand as compared to 2023. And some of the key factors that have actually led to this reduced demand. We've seen quite lots of people that have been evicted from work areas, most especially those that have kiosks along the road. And these are the people that have been really of great support to some of the businesses in the city center and even the suburbs of town. But right now they have nowhere to go. Remember, these people locate themselves in places where there is market. So if they are not part of the city center, the suburbs where they operate from don't have as strong consumer power as compared to the city center. So once these people can access these incomes, definitely they won't spend a lot. So that kind of played a big role when it comes to consumer spending in 2023 season, because some of the policies that are put in place, actually, I want us to really get down to examine the extent to which some of the reforms, most especially by the local authorities, have had an impact to business within the city center. You know, we've seen this in the various parts, suburbs of the town, and of course reflecting back to the city center. And some of the effects, we feel them not only, these are policies that happened early 2022, for example, the eviction of the street vendors. Now, the reforms, the repercussions, we are experiencing them back right now in 2023, towards the end of 2023. As traders say, there is no business happening, because these are the very people that could come and purchase these commodities, for example, from one of the busiest city trading centers, that is Chikubu, and sell them to people at a certain fee, because the vendors could actually go to the city, could reach out to people that weren't interested in coming to the city because of its congestion. So they could deliver products outside. So there was demand in that particular time. But now that is creating a huge aspect. These are the very people that used to board the vehicles heading back home. But now, since they were evicted, even the transportation sector was being affected. The border people are being affected. They are not working, because that is the time when a street vendor could get a border person and tell them, hey, take me to this building around this area, such that I do this delivery to so and so, which we are not seeing happening. So economic activity is being scrambled just because of the policies that were made by the different local authorities, these authorities in charge of the city. without foreseeing some of these circumstances. Of course, they talked about finding a market for them, but the question is the location of that market. Is it favorable for sales? That is quite key, because these vendors move where the market is. That's where they are attracted to, just like bees are attracted to sweet things.
Flowers.
Yeah, the same applies to that. So they need to put that into great consideration as much as they establish in these markets, because some people may not really have the time to travel to those areas to find the street vendors. They'll stick to city, and then they'll be out of business. Well, hope you really get this, but what I can say is advance your product portfolio, deal in quite a wide range of products, and think of purchasing, think of procuring facilities, commodities that are of great necessity to a Ugandan as of this time. All right, 24 minutes past 8. Let's take a break. And of course, business, entertainment, and sports coming up shortly.